WatchYALanguage. And of course, if you're watching this video, I want to thank you for purchasing my book and welcome to the Clear Your Chakras course. This is something that I am so passionate about because learning about the chakras just changed my life, and it's something I share on quite deeply in my book, WatchYALanguage, but it's something that I come back to regularly to check in when things show up in my physical body. I've now learnt to ask the question, what is it that you're here to teach me, rather than judge or criticize the physiological response that generally is stemming from an emotion that I don't want to feel. Now, today's session is just an introduction as to where we're going in this Clear Chakras course. I want to make the sessions quite simple and to the point, not over going probably about 30 minutes or so with these sessions. Of course, if anyone has any questions, I really invite you to put them in the comments. And before we start, of course, make sure that you like this video and also subscribe. So when you subscribe to my channel, you're not going to get overwhelmed with obviously emails and things like that as well. But what you will get is content when it is uploaded. So make sure you click that button now, the like and the subscribe button, so that you are subscribed to this channel. And if you're not already, jump on over and also head over to my Instagram page, which is watch.ya.language.com, where I share a lot, of course, a little bit more into body image, body editing, Snapchat selfie dysmorphia, things like that as well, which is much more easier on a platform like Instagram to have a conversation about. Now, I will be sharing from the course notes. So, of course, for those of you who have purchased my book or purchased this course separately, you also will be given a set of notes on this course as well, which will be forwarded to your email. Now, I'll be referring back to those notes because I want this course to, I'm really big on repetition, and the more we hear something, the easier it goes in, of course, to our brains. So I will be referring back to some notes as we move through this course. I will also be sharing a segment from my book, WatchYALanguage, as well as we move through this Clear Chakras course. So feel free to grab a notepad and a pen if you feel the need to write any content down. But of course, this is what the videos are for. And please, as I mentioned before, reach out, ask questions. If there is anything that comes up for you, which is likely, all right, it's really, really important to actually honor that. I hope, or my intention for you leaving this course, is to actually see the things that show up in our body, and they do, when we are out of alignment or if we're under stress and tension, and we are holding on to emotions such as shame or guilt or anything like that. It's going to present physically in the body. And my intention for you as the listener, the reader, is to see the things that show up in our body and learn to say thank you, to see it with curiosity, not criticism, so that we can then do something about it. And that is what WatchYALanguage is all about. Now, I just want to share a little bit. This is actually at the very start of the book. So if you have purchased WatchYALanguage, you would have noticed that this is in the very, very first couple of pages of WatchYALanguage. And I just want to share this little segment from WatchYALanguage. The Dalai Lama speaks of humans as being gentle and compassionate. This is our natural state. To judge another, to claim we are right over another, to blame another for their actions, and to think that we are better than another is not the way forward. It's showing us what we need to heal. Whatever actions humans are taking in this world is coming from a place of fear and pain. When we judge another human, we're saying more about ourselves than the person we are judging. Unresolved trauma in the body will come out when we are triggered in our environment. Things such as lockdowns and stay-at-home orders that we've all been through can bring to the surface any childhood trauma or emotions that we have spent most of our lives numbing or running from, myself included. The times we are in are forcing society to face emotions some of us have been unwilling to feel. And this is creating what some may describe as chaos on a large scale. In the Western world, it seems common to push emotion down and soldier on, to keep a brave front and to be strong, even if it doesn't feel right. But nothing suppressed will go away. In fact, the emotion lifts weights and trains every day, gaining strength and momentum until it pops up in your mind when you least expect it. This is not fun. I have had first-hand experience of witnessing emotions that have been suppressed for many, many years, and maybe you have too. If I can share anything about the times that we live in at the moment, do your best to see the person you are judging as a person who is suffering and in pain. The only reason we choose actions we don't understand is because there's something under the layers that has not been healed ourselves. All humans have a common desire to be happy and not to suffer. Emotional pain and trauma not felt for some time manifests in the body. And if we don't have the tools to deal with it when we are triggered, it can come across as stupidity, aggression, resentment, and self-sabotage. Love is the only way forward, and compassion is our natural state. As the 13th century Persian poet Rumi once said, "Be the light that you wish to see in the world." Your ability to lean in and give yourself compassion rather than criticism and watch your language will give permission for those around you to do the same. There are many people around us, maybe even you, who will experience the following at some point in their lives. Maybe it's women and men enduring a constant battle with the noisy voice inside our head. Maybe it's teens trapped into the belief of "I'll be better when" and "I'm not enough." Maybe you're a mum trying to do the best for their kids or trying to fix them, but remaining in a constant battle with your own body. Everyone who knows another way, but stays in the safe zone because that is all they know, and we continue to experience suffering. Or maybe you are the adult who has had enough of the shitty language and they've been talking to themselves the whole life in the same dialogue, but you're unsure how to change it. You could even be the people pleaser who constantly puts others first and doesn't know how to fill your own cup. And lastly, but not least, the perfectionist who is always searching for more. Nothing works for you if you don't look after you first. It is up to you which garden you choose to water. This is where this Clear Your Chakras course comes in. We are going to dive in with compassion. We're going to dive in a state of realness and acceptance of what is. When we can take ownership and responsibility for where we are right now without judging, without blaming, sorry, my nose is really itchy, without searching for an excuse, and actually landing into the place of now and going, all right, with my choices, my actions, my behaviors, my dialogue, and my thoughts, I have landed myself here. And it is from this position of now, right here, that we can do something about it. So welcome to Clear Chakras. Oh goodness, I have the most itchiest nose. Keeping it real. So Clear Chakras will be running, of course, over, 7 individual segments, which you'll have the video content to. I'm going to go through right now and just deliver a little introduction of where we're going, of what you can expect through this course, and of course, give yourself the tools to recognize the things that we might have kept stuck, to acknowledge them, to give them permission to understand what they've been trying to teach us, and of course, to let it go. In Buddhism, there's one simple saying that really resonates with me a lot, and it's be the one who sees. When I started my yoga teacher training, goodness, probably about 6-7 years ago now, I remember the very first thing my yoga teacher said, and it was like, not one of us knows enough to be right. Really made me think, because I feel we have been brought up in a world where everyone has an opinion. There's always this right or wrong. We're always striving to get to the next thing. We're looking for perfection. We're looking to people please. We are looking for more. And when he said that, it opened up my mind and my heart to a space of deeper learning. To actually go, that's really interesting. So what I know, I can maybe expand on that. We started to learn about our chakra system through our yoga course. And from that date, the moment I even grasped the slightest bit of information that my thoughts and my words were possibly causing the disruption in my physical body, I was hooked. I'm like, I need to understand more about this. So through this course, I'll probably reference quite a few books. The first one that has come to mind is Louise Hay's book, You Can Heal Your Life. It is such a beautiful and a great book to read to understand the connection of the mind and the body. I also talk a fair bit on Ayurveda, the Eastern medicine, the science of life. I feel that Ayurveda and the chakra system are very well intertwined, and it's actually my second course that I offer through the book WatchYALanguage called Free Your Flow. Getting to understand that the body and the mind are ultimately connected. And in Ayurveda, they say that nothing has more power to heal the body than the mind. So when we can gain an understanding of our chakra system, these energy centers that run through our body in location with our spine, when things show up in our body, instead of judging them, we can actually lean in, say thank you, and do something about it. So I just want to share some profound words with you on becoming the witness and the observer of what's going on around us. One of the teachings that was shared with me from one of my spiritual teachers was that whatever it is that's going on around you, right, in our environment, what we're noticing in our body, it's not personal unless we make it. And coming back to what I mentioned before about in Buddhism, it is to see things as they are, to not try to fix it, to not try to change it, to not try to fluff around it or pretend that it's not happening. When we can say things as they are and fall into this space of the isness of what's here, I promise you, you will save so much energy, because it takes time and effort, right, to try to change or fix a situation, or to try to manipulate it, or try to get out of it, or try to make it anything different than what it is. All emotions are meant to be felt, experienced, seen, and heard. But in the world we live in, it's been considered not to be accepted in society if we are experiencing, say, anxiety or fear or depression or whatever it might be. It's like, I can't say that. I have to pretend that everything's okay. That is absolutely not the case. If you were to be watching a concert, so to speak, and say you're watching a piano player or some sort of music, and the artist is playing the low notes, you don't walk out of the concert because he's playing the low notes. You appreciate them, you feel them, you might cry, you might get caught up in the emotion of the darkness of those low notes, but you sit there and go, wow, that was powerful. Why do we run or numb from the emotions we don't want to feel, those low vibrational ones? So what if we were able to sit in those low vibrational notes, such as fear and doubt and anger and jealousy and resentment and low self-worth, and actually look into the why of why they're showing up, and to sit with them and feel them so that they can move through us and we do not hold on to them. Nothing we suppress goes away. Nothing we suppress goes away. And we're going to discuss that a little bit as we talk on this overview. So remember, I am not the mind. I am the one thinking. I am not the body. I am the one seeing. I am not the heart. I am the one feeling. It took me a while to grasp that. And when you do, you realize that you are not this. You are a soul living a human experience. Right? The things that happen around you are not personal, right? They have nothing to do with us unless we cling to it or resist it and we take it on board. This is what Clear Chakras is all about. And it's about freeing up the things that we've held on to for 5, for 10, for 15, for 20, for 30 years. And actually going, you know what? I have held on to this stuff long enough. I have held on to this guilt. I have held on to this shame. I've held on to this judgment. I've held on to this limiting belief long enough. And it is now time to let it go. So the chakras are meaning wheel, right? And just like the wheels of the car, if one of the wheels fall off, what's going to happen? We are going to go around in circles, right? We know that. So think of these chakras as energy centers in the body, which is what they are. They are spinning wheels of energy. And we're going to focus on the main 7 chakras in this course, right? What we are looking to achieve is essentially what's called Wu Wei. Right? It is this place of harmony and balance. It's effortless action. It is non-doing, right? In other words, we call it flow state, equilibrium, equanimity. Exactly what we are looking to achieve if you look at it from an Ayurvedic point of view. When we are in balance and we are in flow, our digestive system, right? Things are moving, we feel healthy, we feel happy, we feel well, we can make good, clear decisions, we speak freely, we speak our truth, and things just work out for us, right? We know that, you can feel energy, it aligns. You'll notice synchronicities popping up here, there, and everywhere when you're in flow state. That's what happens. That is actually our natural state. We are the only ones who block that. Right? So I'll be using the words chi, prana, life force, shakti, energy interchangeably through this course, right? So when we essentially unblock our chakras, it basically creates more space for energy, chi, shakti, whatever you want to call it, to flow. I will also interchangeably be using words such as the universe, God, source, divine, right, and highest self through this course. So it is, there's no difference between any of that. So whatever resonates with you, whether it be God or universe or source, I want you to use that, what feels best in your heart space. Guys, life is meant to be effortless. If we are spending all of our time and energy living in the past, in the guilt and the shame and the things that we have done, in the should have and could have and would have, we are going to be using up so much precious energy, and we are missing the most important bit, which is now, right? Life is happening now, not back when this happened, not back when I said this, not back when I broke up with this partner, not a week ahead when we have a meeting with our boss or whatever might evolve onto that, not a month ahead when we don't know if this is going to unfold or whatever it might be. That is irrelevant, and the past is irrelevant. What we have is now, this moment, and this is where we can do something about it. For all of us, tomorrow is not guaranteed. So what we want to do is live the most present and appreciative life that is full of gratitude for this 24 hours right now, right? This moment, this day. And to do that, we need to free up the things we are holding onto. We are going to find alignment in this course, alignment in the body, alignment in the mind, and alignment in our heart space so that you can receive full love. You cannot pour from an empty cup, right? And I know I work with so many people that are constantly pouring other people's cups first. guess what? You're going to be full of resentment. You're not going to be able to receive love. So how can you give love if your cup is not full? Right? You must be able to receive love. You must have love for yourself in order to give full love out to another person. This is what clear chakras is all about. Right, so I want you to think about the chakra system as an easy way to scan your body and pay attention to what's going on, right? Too often we're moving too fast, we're in overwhelm, we're busy, we're stressed, we're too fast to actually notice that our body is talking to us. Our body talks to us all the time, right? I used to live like this with my shoulders up around my ears. I talk about this in my book, in the Be Here method. Body, the first step, B for body, is our first recognition that something is going on in our bodies. We tense up, we tighten. My traps used to be up here consistently because I was so much living in my survival state. So there's no point consistently overdoing and being busy, or there's no point holding on to guilt or shame. It's going to live also somatically in our bodies, and we're constantly going to be in our fight flight, which of course shuts down our digestive system, right? So this course is going to give you the tools to recognize what's going on with your body so that you can choose to then do something about it, right? Think of the chakras like a roadmap. They don't tell you where to go, but they show you where you can go, right? It's just so, it's just fascinating. And of course, this chakra system, as what you will see in your notes, they are spinning consistently, right? They're like 7 vortexes that carry us through the ups and downs of life. They help transform from one level to the next and vice versa. One does not work without the other, right? So if we're facing a blockage in our root chakra, of course, which will be the next one after this, then we're going to have problems upstream. If you think of this system like some waterfall, so you imagine a waterfall at the top, the water falls down and it comes into like the pond underneath, or the pool. And from that pool, there's another one that goes underneath it, and then underneath and underneath again. Now, the water's got to flow, right? It trickles down through these pools and eventually out to the ocean. But if there has been a huge storm, or like the recent floods that we've had in Australia, there's going to be debris in these pools, and it's going to be blocking the flow of that water. So the water is still coming down the waterfall, but it then has to make way around all the blockages, the sticks, the trees, the boulders, whatever else might be in the water, but the energy still has to flow. Now, the same thing goes for our bodies. So if we are holding on to shame and guilt and this that happened here and this relationship here where it was amazing, and now I'm comparing everything to that relationship and nothing's the same, or if I had this job when I was 10 years ago and I'm striving to get back to where I were, or if I'm trying to get back to a body that I had 5 years ago, or under 10 kilos and I'm just not there yet, you're holding on to stuff that's irrelevant. So your energy still has to flow, but guess what? You're going to be tired, you're going to be exhausted, you are going to be overwhelmed, you're not going to be able to sleep properly because there's so much internally that we're holding on to. So this energy, Shi, Shakti, Prana, has still got to try and flow, but it's got to go around all our blockages. So what we need to do is clear them out, so to speak, so that that waterfall and that energy can flow freely, right? Chakras are the place where the mind and the body meet. Energy is always flowing, and if we keep it in our bodies, right? If we, like what I mentioned before, if we have stored, and I'm going to talk about this in a moment, if we have stored an experience and we've shoved it down deep in our heart, it's not going to stay there. It will for a while. It's going to circle around and around and around like a whirlpool. But when something happens in our environment and we are triggered in our environment from that, something reminds us of that situation. We might smell something. We might see a car that reminds us of our exes 10 years ago and this happened. We might experience a certain place and that immediately reminds us of what happened when we were a kid. Straight away we are triggered, and that energy rises up to the surface and it begs to be seen and heard. But what do? We push it down and we numb and run with alcohol, online shopping, sex, drugs, phones, Instagram, whatever, and we find something that takes the pain away. But the emotion, the blockage is still going to be there unless we feel to heal. This is what this course is all about. We will go there. It's about, when you're ready, again, this course will find you. It's about giving ourselves permission to release these blockers so our energy flows much more freely. All right. I will be, again, of course, this links in very much with the second course that is, of course, from my book, WatchYALanguage, which is called Free Your Flow. Talking a little bit onto Ayurveda. And I just want to share a little bit now because I will be touching a little bit over these next few videos. Ayurveda, of course, is Eastern science, Eastern medicine, been around for nearly 5,000 years. In other words, they know their shit, right? It comes back to this consistency of the body and the mind being connected. It means the science of life, and it personally taught me so much about understanding energy and understanding when I was out of balance and out of equilibrium in my environment, and what I needed to do for movement, what I needed to eat, everything to bring myself back down to balance. So I spent nearly 30 years consistently in the gym, like pounding away, constantly, like giving so much effort. And this is my puppy Lily, giving so much effort. I was constantly doing, constantly busy, constantly pushing, constantly striving, never ever arriving. This energy of force and flow and push literally drove me to my edge. I broke down twice. I never slowed down, right? I thought we had to push and push and push in the world we live in today to achieve, to be perfect, to reach success. But like anything in life and in nature, it is duality. We need the slow as much as we need the fast. Nature itself, right? Nature flourishes without doing a thing. It doesn't lift a finger, it rests. We need to also do the same. So Ayurveda and the chakras, I feel, are very, very intertwined. In Ayurveda and into the chakra system, we work with the root of the problem, right? A lot, and this is not to diss any medication. Medication is needed, of course, when necessary. But a lot of times we're just putting a Band-Aid over something that's much deeper, that stems from something that quite possibly happened in our childhood and an emotion that we're not willing to feel, right? It's about giving ourselves permission to get to the root of the problem, right? And to understand the blockage, which is called the samskara, the impression. I'm going to go into that. And to give ourselves now the ability and the tools to be able to clear it. So we're working with the subtle body. It's the energetic body. We can't see it, but we can feel it. It's these gut feelings. It's the sense that we get. It's our intuition. You know, we as humans, right? Dan Siegel talks on this a lot in his book Mindsight, talks on the Triune Brain. And basically with this Triune Brain, we as humans have this prefrontal cortex, which means that with our prefrontal cortex, we have the ability to make a choice, right? We can see things as they are, and we can make a choice because we can access what is called presence, right? That is so cool. It's like, why is this happening? I have a choice to continue with my old practice patterns, dialogue, behaviors, and actions, or I can start to fire and wire different neurons, which create different experiences in our mind and our body, which creates change. That is the guts of neuroplasticity in a nutshell. Everything can change. Doesn't matter how old you are, but we need to start doing the work now. And guess what? You need to repeat it. It needs to be consistent, and we need to work on repetition to be able to strengthen the new neurons and weaken the old ones of practice patterns, actions, behaviors, and dialogue to create change. This is what this is all about. So I say this often: be curious, not critical, about what unfolds in your life. It's a freaking game changer. When we have something show up in our bodies, how often do you judge it? Oh my goodness, I'm bloated. I hate the way I look today, right? I'm on my period. Everything looks blah. Say thank you. The experience is there anyway. The bloatedness is there anyway. Say thank you for showing up, for showing me, all right, maybe I need to slow down a little bit. Maybe I need to rest a little bit. Am I living in my stress state? Right? We bloat because our digestive system shuts down. If we're living in our fight, flight, sympathetic nervous system, your nervous system is going to shut down temporarily because it's doing its best to keep you alive, right? 99% of the situations that unfold in front of us are not worth you dropping into your sympathetic nervous system, your fight flight. You don't need to. The situation is just uncomfortable. You can still stay calm, keep yourself open and relaxed, even if the situation is uncomfortable. All you need to do is take a breath in and a breath out, acknowledge that the situation is uncomfortable, and keep your nervous system regulated and in a state of calmness and equilibrium. I promise you, it is only 1% of the time where you are going to need to react to stay alive, right? So when something happens in our environment, and it will, because that's what happens in our environment, things happen around us that we have no control of, like COVID, for example, or like somebody commenting something on our Instagram we don't like, or somebody pulling out of us in front of us in traffic. That is nothing to do with us. If somebody judges you or comments on your Instagram or Facebook, that's on them. That has nothing to do with you. Someone pulls out in front of traffic. If you get pissed off, guess what? You need to dive in and do the work. What's going on with you? Why are you pissed off at a situation you can't control? So this is the thing. We need to understand that we have a choice. We have a choice whether or not we respond or react in our environment. And I want to teach you guys that response is something we always have a choice to do. All right, so be curious, not critical, what unfolds, right? Because, as I said, when things show up for us, immediately we want to close, right? The moment we do this, we are literally shutting down our autonomic nervous system. We are putting ourselves into stress, fight or flight, right? So you can choose to see this from a different angle. Wayne Dyer says, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. We are in a world where it is easy to rise above to thought rather than feel our hearts. So I'm going to, and it's scary, right? It's scary to feel our hearts because like, oh, I've ran from that stuff for so long. I don't want to dive into the heart and feel this. Well, if you don't feel it and if you keep suppressing it, it's going to come out later, right? And I talk about this in my book. And if you've read WatchYALanguage, you'd know. My beautiful Nan held on to shame and guilt for nearly 70 years from something that happened in her 20s. My mum, beautiful Robin, I love her. She shares about this on my YouTube channel. She held on to the guilt from my eating disorder over 30 years. These things do not go away. They present in our bodies and we become rigid. We start the onset of inflammation, sickness and dis-ease because energy has to go somewhere, and if it can't get up and out, it will come out physiologically in our bodies. Nothing in this world is worth holding on to, I promise you. So we are going to give ourselves permission in this course to get to know our chakra system and the emotions behind it that keep us stuck. I want to share a quote here from Michael Singer. What ends up in our minds as a thought stems from how we feel about ourselves in our heart. Right? I just want to differentiate the characteristics of the mind and the heart before we wrap this up. So what you'll notice between the mind and the heart, that the mind is visual and verbal. It talks to us, doesn't it? It's the voice inside our head. We experience what's called our monkey mind. It's solid, real, and we create stories. I am thinking, but I am not my thoughts. All right, let's just separate that now and have a little bit of a dive into the difference now of the heart. So the heart is more etheric, right? The heart is vibrational. It is the place of our emotions. It is the place of our feelings. Emotions are energy in motion. We are always feeling something, right? Always. Sometimes we run from it because we don't want to feel what we're feeling. But I'm going to ask you to dive in. An emotion only lasts somewhere between like 60 and 90 seconds. And if we can experience it in that moment and go, oh my God, this is so uncomfortable, right? I see you, I feel you, and it's okay, right? The first 2 steps of the Be Here method. I see you, I feel you, and it's okay. We then experience it in the moment, we don't hold on to it, right? I am feeling, but I am not my heart. So whatever you're feeling, you're not that. You're not your emotions, the same as you're not your mind. You're not your stories. You're experiencing the story, but it's not you. You're experiencing the feeling in your heart, but it's not you. You're experiencing what's going on in your body, but it's not you. That is so freaking freeing when you grasp that. It is just so great. It's like, oh, wow, I see all this chaos. I see all this anxiety. I see and experience all this self-sabotage and judgment and self-criticism, but it's not me. How freaking awesome is that? All right, guys. So just as we wrap this up, I want to just share a little bit on the samskaras. Just understanding that our hearts are the storage place of the things we've pushed down and suppressed, right? As you know, you read my book, I pushed down the words and the feelings of what got said to me at 6 years old. You're not pretty enough to be on our team. I took those words and I made that my story. My eating disorder did not start at 15. It started at the age of 6. When I took her words, she didn't say it out of any malice or anything like that. She was a kid. But I took her words and I made it my story, right, for the next 30 years. So from that moment, I then practiced perfection, people pleasing. I practiced just being the person that I thought everybody wanted to see. I did not know how to be myself. I did not know what authentic was because I was always trying to be liked. I was trying to be popular and I was trying to make other people proud of me. The practice of that over 10 years then brought on my eating disorder at the age of 15. All right, this is my story. All right, and I'm so grateful for that story because I wouldn't be here today doing what I'm doing. Right, all our events, our experiences and trauma that we've had right up until this moment gets stored if we don't release it at the time, which is what I did. I stored so much, right? As you know, if you've read my book, I stored so much from that age. So I had a lot of layers to unravel, so to speak, right? In Buddhism, right, it's called clinging or resisting. Either we hang on to the great moments, right? We experience, like, similar to why can't my relationship be like my old one? So we compare. We think, my God, like, why is this so different? You know, like, why can't he treat me the way that this person treated me? And we judge and we compare and we're constantly in this living in the past. We're holding on to a good experience. Or, right, something along the lines of, I wish I had the body like I did when I was 20. And we continually, like, look for something that was in our past. And this means that we are not living in the present moment, right? The other thing that happens is we resist. We resist the things that have been uncomfortable and unpleasant, right? So in your notes, you'll notice that I've put a few examples here, such as, like, I never want to speak to my ex again, so I'll avoid him or her at all costs, right? Maybe you don't go to a certain party because they're there. Maybe you don't drive down that street. You might see them. That's going to trigger you. So you try to avoid it. So you live your whole life avoiding these triggers, which means you're run by the things that you don't want to feel, right? That is no way to live. Maybe it's, you know, I'll just keep quiet next time I'm in a work meeting, as the last time I got shut down. So you block the flow of your truth. You're triggered because last time you said something, your boss was like, no, that's not a good idea or whatever. So you then stay quiet. Again, that is no way to live your life. Or maybe I'd prefer not to express my opinion in my relationship in case I upset my partner due to what happened then. Right? So again, you get walked over and you do the same thing relationship after relationship. These are based on what's called our samskaras. These samskaras are impressions. They are the things that we have held onto, right? Clung to or resisted, suppressed, right? Clear Your Chakras works interlaced with this. I talk on the samskaras so much in my book. Again, it is something that changed my life, learning how we have held on to these impressions, how they store in our bodies, and what we can do to remove them. All right, so again, I'm just going to share from the notes because this is what you guys have. These impressions accumulate over the years and we end up with messy and blocked energy flow, right? I had so many samskaras that I've had to work through, and I can guarantee you I've got plenty more. But I would rather be doing the work and clearing them out than actually running and avoiding from them for the rest of my life, because that shit is hard. And I've done that long enough, and it stores in your body like nothing else, and you're tired, you're overwhelmed, you can't sleep, you're constantly suffering from anxiety, right? And the dialogue is just the same in and out of not feeling enough, consistently judging ourselves, consistently comparing, and consistently coming back to that feeling and belief of not being worthy. We are all worthy. We deserve to feel so much love, gratitude, and compassion. And this is what this course will do for you. Our chakra system delivers energy, chi, to the spine. So if energy is stuck in one region, we struggle to find balance, equilibrium, and vitality, right? Our chakras have, our samskaras have everything to do with our chakras. And I hope that over the course of this next 7 days, or whenever it is that you do this course, that you can start to gain a little bit of an understanding as to how the things and experiences, traumas, or moments in our lives that were not so hot and we've held on to them have an effect physiologically in our bodies, right? So if we are holding on to past experiences, and it's not to judge them, we've all done it. We've all done it. We all have past experiences. We all feel shame. We all feel guilt. We've all been through trauma, right? It is now time to just acknowledge it, to talk about it, to go, you know what, I am done. I am done, and I'm ready to free it, right? If we are holding on to the things we should have said, the things we could have done, and what we could have chosen, we are living in the past. You are missing out on right now. And what if you didn't have tomorrow? I said, for all of us, tomorrow is not guaranteed. What if we didn't have it? Would you still be choosing to hold on to your past? Would you be choosing to edit a photo? Would you be choosing to look in the mirror and judge your beautiful body if you did not have tomorrow? Absolutely not. You fucking would be giving everything you could back to yourself right now to go, how can I appreciate today? How can I appreciate even the shitty moments, the challenges, the struggles of today, because I get to appreciate it, right? We have this one life. Let's learn to give it everything we can. The same goes. If we are worrying about what our future holds, anxious about next week's meeting, doubtful if a partner likes us, or fearful about who may like us, we are living in the future. And that also is no place to live, right? We have to let go of trying to control a situation to fix it or to attach to a situation. The Buddha says that attachment is the root of all suffering, and it is, right? We have no control over what happens in and around us, none. And for somebody coming from nearly 30 years of disordered eating, I tried to control everything. And I can guarantee you, it gets us nowhere, right? We are going to learn how to be present, right? If our energy is blocked, we are going to be living in a closed body, right? We are going to be resistant. We're going to close off our heart. And if our heart is closed, guys, guess what? You're not going to be able to receive. You are not going to be able to present. You're not going to be able to make a good choice. Your dialogue will be shitty to yourself. You'll be constant autopilot. You'll be reactive, and you'll be triggering firing and wiring the same neural pathways that you do every single time you're triggered. This is why we have things such as alcohol addictions and shopping addictions and phone addictions and things like that, because we are triggered in our environment, and you go back to the same practice pattern of reactivity, and you're like, fuck, why am I drinking this bottle of alcohol again? Why have I just gone back to this partner? Why have I gone straight away and spent all this money online? Because we are living in reactivity, right? When we are open, our heart is open, our face is open, our energy is open. We are in a state where we can be present and we can receive. We will be definitely unpacking this in this course. So lastly, the chakras, what are they? Where are they? This is the last bit for this video today, guys. Our root chakra, right, is of course located at the base of our spine. It is also responsible down through our legs, our knees, our hips, our shins, our ankles, our feet, and our toes. It is responsible for survival, and it is blocked by fear. Cool? So as we move up through the chakras, we then come to our sacral chakra. Right, our sacral chakra is one that I had a lot of issues through for many, many years. Our sacral chakra, of course, is located in and around sort of our lumbar spine. It is located at the sacrum, of course. It is blocked by guilt. The element is water. It is responsible for pleasure, right? And as I said, it is located around the pelvis, our hips, and our lower back, right? So if we are experiencing things such as bloating or low back pain and things like that as well, we need to ask ourselves a question: what guilt am I holding on to here? And again, this is not about judging it. It is not about blaming anything in and around it. It is actually now getting curious to go, maybe there is something I'm holding on to that is having a physiological response in my body. All right, the third chakra that we move into, of course, is our solar plexus chakra. The element is fire. This is, of course, in and around our navel center. If you think of the fire element, it is all of this digestive system, right? So this is called the power center. It is blocked by shame. It is basically our right for our self-esteem and our power, right? So if we are lacking in that, our digestive system is pretty much going to shut down. Our fire is going to go out, or it is going to overheat, right? And we burn out, so to speak. So the location is the solar plexus, but also ripples in and around, of course, to this region into that mid to upper back as well. All right, which brings us to our next chakra, which is our heart chakra, right? So our heart chakra is located in and around this heart space, not directly on the heart, but it also encompasses up our chest, our shoulders, our arms, our elbows, right down to our wrists and our fingers as well, and our hands. The element is air. It's etheric. Remember, I mentioned that before, right? The area of this chakra is what I described. It's not just this heart area. It goes all down. So shoulder tension, energy in and around the traps and the neck is also affected by this heart chakra. It is blocked by grief, right? The things that we are holding on to. In grief especially, we sometimes never lose grief, but it is also about giving ourselves permission to let that go when the time is ready. We'll always feel pain of losing someone or a relationship, but if we consistently hold ourselves to that, then we are actually living in that grief all the time. It's about acknowledging that sometimes we never ever lose that grief. But again, it's how much attention and energy we give to that feeling of grief is how long that stays in our bodies, right? It is responsible, of course, for love and compassion for ourselves, right? Again, if you're looking for love and compassion or kindness from another person or to complete you, then that is never going to happen, right? We need to actually come back to ourselves and fill our own cups. We need to actually love ourselves from the inside out. No one will ever fill that space for you. So if you're looking for a partner to fill this void, unfortunately, you got to fill that void yourself first. Otherwise, you will always be looking, right? We move now on to one of my favorite chakras, I guess, if you've got a favorite, and it is our throat chakra. Our throat chakra is the element of sound. Of course, it is our ability to be able to speak our truth. It is, of course, blocked by the lies we tell ourselves and the limiting beliefs and the stories, right? It is the location of the throat, the mouth, the nose, the ears, and it is responsible for our expression, our creativity, our truth, and our authenticity, which, as you know, I'm so big on that. So if we are, again, spending all our time pretending to be someone we're not, or to try to people please, or to try to live a perfect life, we're going to be pushing shit uphill, guys, because that takes way too much effort to try to be someone else rather than to be yourself. All right, as we move up from that element of truth, we now come into the third eye chakra. This is, of course, the space also of our prefrontal cortex, which I mentioned before, which is our ability to see, right? The element here is light, and it is blocked by illusion, right? We think we need this to complete us. We look in the things in the external world. When I have this, I'll be happy. When I look like this, I'll be happy. When I have this body, I'll be happy. When I live in this suburb, I'll be happy. No fucking way. When we actually dive in, the work must be done within. We have all we need within us already. We just need to peel back the layers. The location is that pineal gland, as mentioned, in between those eyebrows. Lastly, that we'll be covering, of course, is the crown chakra. This is the element of thought and consciousness, right? This is our connection to our higher self, God, source, divine. This is our ability to connect to source, to connect to our higher self, to realize that we are all one. This chakra sort of governs all the rest of it. If we have disconnection from ourself and our higher self, from God, from source, then we are going to feel unbalanced, unsettled, and we are going to be looking in the external to complete us in the internal world. These chakras, of course, all align with each other. So if one is out of balance, we're going to feel the wheels fall off. So this course, we are going to go through chakra by chakra, and I'll be keeping it nice and short and simple as we go through the energy that blocks it and the emotion, of course, what we will experience in our physical, mental, and emotional bodies, what we can do to start to do the work to clear out the blockage, the samskara that is in relation to this chakra, to move forward, to create space, and of course, at the end of the day, have more energy. When you have more energy, what happens is your vibration rises, you see more gratitude, you see more appreciation, you experience more love. And when you experience more love, guess what? That radiates out of you. And that is the best message that we can give to anybody in our household, our family, our kids, and those around us. So we as a world can start to lift our vibration and come back to love. Thank you so much, guys, and welcome to the Clear Your Chakras course. Thank you so much for reading my book, WatchYALanguage. Feel free to get in touch over on my Instagram page, watch.ya.language, or feel free to comment below on any questions you may have on the Clear Your Chakras course.